Good day, Dream Inspire, Dream Properties. As always, having those special figures from different parts of the world, just explaining their journey of success from where they started, where they stumble, and until today they are strong again. Today we have another woman in steel, Dali Ata. Let me start from Iraq. Dali Ata, please welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And starting from you were Iraqi born,
Yes.
but now you are in Dubai.
Uh-huh.
And also, you will be in Abu Dhabi tomorrow.
Correct.
Let me leave all those kind of things.
Yes.
Let me start with the starting from Iraq
Mm-hmm.
to Jordan.
Yeah.
Let us start from here.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me again. I mean, it's so interesting how we even met. Let's just put that out there. So yes, I'm Iraqi born, obviously born during the war, which
Okay.
a lot of Iraqi families had to leave because life was just crisis. We could not survive.
Yeah.
So my family and I fled to Jordan, where the refugees all went from Iraq at the time. This is back in the 90s.
Wow.
Fled to Jordan to try and find a safe home, and then at the same time apply for United Nations to go to any country.
Okay.
As long as it was safe, it was a country that gave us opportunities and just for us to have a proper life. Because if we stayed in Iraq, unfortunately, we would not be able to achieve what we've achieved today. In saying that, Iraq is home and will always be home, regardless.
Okay.
So this would have been around 93, 94, and I was still very, very young. So experiencing all of that at such a young age is quite difficult. In saying that, the parents obviously had to go through all the rough times while we were just, tagging along. So we made it to Jordan, spent a couple of years in Jordan, which I really, really enjoyed, to say the least. Because what I enjoyed was the safety.
In the refugee camp or refugee what refugee?
So we lived as refugees under United Nations, but we were lucky enough not to live in a camp. We actually had an apartment, a one-bedroom apartment. So we were very blessed that we were actually, living under a roof compared to so many unfortunate people who had to stay in the camp. In saying that, it was just a precious time because that was the first time we've experienced safety, something we've never actually had. And, the waiting game started. We're waiting for United Nations to tell us where we're going to next. And the day we got on the plane to go to Australia, we had no idea where we were going.
Okay.
That's actually that we had no idea. I remember my mom saying, "Oh, we're going to be going to an English country." I'm like, "Oh, okay, but we didn't even speak the language." Okay, that's fine. Let's just get on a plane. And we got on a plane, landed in Dubai for a couple of hours. Then we got on another plane, and the plane was like flying. I'm thinking, this is taking too long. Where the hell are we going? 12 hours later, touchdown, Australia. And then the journey starts from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the schools and universities and everything were in Australia.
In Australia, yes, yeah. So we got there. The first obviously year was learning the language. So I never spoke like this. I had no idea how to say 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D.
Okay.
Which was, a lot of people don't know that because like, English must be your first language. No, it's not. I speak Arabic. Iraqi is the dialect.
Okay.
English is not my first language. But obviously, when you move to a new country, the first thing you got to learn is the language. Now, my parents spoke zero English and still do till this day.
Okay.
Because they had so much loyalty to the Arabic language. And, when you leave and migrate and forcefully leave your country, you just don't want to let go of the language and the values and the culture because, you grew up there. And that's how it was for my parents.
And how was it being, how can I call you, the immigrant in Australia? How was it on you? Because you were from Iraq, you remember? That is where your home is.
Correct.
But you were there as an immigrant.
Correct.
How life was it there?
It was an interesting journey because I feel like, yes, we grew up in Australia and we're extremely grateful for what Australia has given us. The citizenship, the passport, limited and unlimited opportunities. But you kind of always reminded that you don't belong in a sense. And, you kind of always have scenarios where you're told you're not Australian. And that's when you go, well, then who am I? This is all I know. Like when I was there, I was a very young person. So 3/4 of my life was spent in Australia. But then again, there's that always something would come up where you're reminded that you're not English. You're not European, you're not Australian, you're not
Yeah,
whatever it
yeah,
is. And
yeah.
you know, I'm sure a lot of families that migrated with their kids will agree because we've all had days where we felt like we didn't belong.
Oh,
Yet
okay.
when we used to go to Iraq for holidays, we didn't belong as well. So you'd be like, how do I fit in? Where do I fit?
But you fitted.
I fitted, I created my own identity. And it's like now I fit everywhere I go.
And another thing, because the running didn't end there.
No,
Again, you run again to Oman.
I did. I did.
What were the reason behind?
There was a lot of reasons. And I mean, when I finished uni and then I graduated, I got my MBA, graduated, I was working, I was a corporate trainer and a lecturer. So
Okay.
very, very high-end job, amazing, you know, great life. And I lived in Australia for pretty much 3/4 of my life. So it became very comfortable.
Oh,
When you get comfortable, you stop doing well.
okay.
You start going under a rock.
That's
I'm
true.
happy,
That's
I'm comfortable, I'm earning X amount of dollars. I've got the same friends I had for 15 years, 20 years. So now, okay, what do I do? What's my next step? And the next step was what I needed was a challenge. Now, moving countries, I think, is the scariest thing in the world, especially for women,
That's true.
because you know you pack up your whole life and go, and then you go to something that is just unknown.
But was it easy for you because you were coming from the Iraqi,
Yeah.
mostly like Arabic country, and
Yeah.
also you're going to Oman?
Yeah.
Looks like it was a little bit easy for you.
Language-wise, yes.
Okay.
Culture-wise, not really, because I grew up in Australia,
Australia.
a very Western culture, and you know, I went to Australian school, Australian university, Australian friends, or I'd say you know, lots of diverse friendships. So the culture was very interesting in Oman, still is. However, when I decided to move to Oman, I moved with no savings in my accounts. So you know what I want to say. The reason I'm saying this is because I want people to understand that you have to make decisions without thinking where the money is going to come from. A lot of people don't take risks because they feel like, oh, I don't have enough money.
I like that.
Yeah.
So you have to make decision while you're not thinking that the money, where will it come from?
100%. You just have to make a decision. Now, I went to Oman 2020. God bless COVID. And I literally went with $500 in my bank account. Only, and a bag, 20 kg bag. Left everything at home, packed it in boxes, put it in a friend's storage, and said, I'll come back in July 2020. Fast forward 3 years, I haven't even gone to Australia yet.
Oh my goodness! But you have some friends and everybody there in Australia.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. My friends are still there. I'm still in touch with them, and they'll always be family to me. And I'll definitely go back, you know, for a holiday. But the journey that took me to Oman is I was looking for a challenge, and everyone around me was very comfortable, so I didn't have an inspiration.
Okay.
To get out of my comfort zone because everybody was doing what I was doing, working full time, you know, having a good time. We're young, we're in our 20s, life is good. So there was no inspiration to throw all of that away.
Okay.
But being an immigrant goes back to that point, the whole sacrifice that we had to go through, the challenges, you're always looking for the next big move. And the first lesson I learned was you never take anybody's advice. They tell you can't do it, and everybody in Australia told me you can't do it. Until this day, they doubt that I cannot do it. I'm like, well, fast forward 3 years, I'm sure I did it. You know?
I'm just standing there in Oman.
Yes.
Still running. Still you're running.
Still running.
Today in Dubai, tomorrow in Abu Dhabi.
Correct. And back to Oman next week.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Again, still running.
Yes.
And when you run, you forget about that. You forget everything about the past.
100%.
Thank you. So talking about the business, because in Oman, I'm sure that that business, you have a huge business there which you're running.
Correct.
How did you start it? Because you told me that you went there with almost like $500.
Yes.
With 20 kgs bag with you.
Correct.
Nothing else.
One bag, $500 in my account, got on a plane, went to Oman.
Somebody can have $1,000, $2,000 in his pocket or in his bank account, and then still he wants to make some decisions.
Yes.
To just get somewhere to start. She started with $500. Today, she's one of the successful entrepreneur in Oman.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let us go there. How did we start with that $500?
Sure. So what happened is I landed in Oman exactly on the 10th of March 2020. 5 days later, the whole country shut down.
Because of COVID.
Because of COVID.
Everything recorded. Because you are recording everything, even the dates.
100%.
Thank you.
All gone. 15th of March, all gone. I originally went to actually work as my original job, which is corporate training. Happy days, the contract is there, showed up, country shut down, which means there's no more face-to-face training, there's no more visa processing, nothing. So I sat there and I was like, oh, that's fine. I'm sure everything will open in a month. You know, COVID can't be that bad.
Yeah, everyone was thinking the same.
Everybody, it's like, we'll be okay, you know, why not? Hibernate for a month and then we'll recharge, go back to normal. Happy days.
First month,
First month.
second
Month, the money started to go down. And this is what I really want to tell people. Don't be ashamed if you run out of money. And if you really just struggle, it's okay. You know, you're not, I'm sure so many people out there did something with $0 in their bank account and made millions.
That's true. That's true.
There's no shame in saying I didn't have money. I'm struggling.
Yes, yes.
And that's how I got through the first 9 months of Oman, my journey there with no job, no income. I started to ask people, do you know if anybody's hiring? How can I do online training? And everywhere I went, and the secret here is ask. Everywhere I went and said, look, I'm an Australian expat. This is my situation. I am a certified trainer. Would you like me to run a training program for you online? Couple went, okay, I thought I can do it for free. No problem. In my head, I'm like, you need the money. Ask for the money.
a lot of people are failing there because there are some places which they could volunteer.
Exactly.
And then they can see their ability and they can take them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I did just an hour workshop for an oil and gas company. They loved the vibe. They loved the energy that I had. They enjoyed the content. They're like, okay, we need, because everybody was working from home and, you know, companies need their staff to remain engaged. So they said, okay, are you able to run multiple for us through a duration of, you know, a couple of months? And I said, I can do that. However, is it okay if you start paying me? They're like, of course, you know. I'm like, great. Okay, I'll make 50 riyals, which is 500 dirhams.
Yes.
For someone who's broke is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Luckily, the hotel that the first job that hired me kept me in a hotel. So at least I had somewhere to stay, which was, you know, I was in a safe place. During that time, I started to make friends with, you know, the rest of the people that were in the hotel.
Networking. You started to network where you were there.
100%. And through this network, I was able to get an apartment and not pay for it for a couple of months.
Whoa.
Because I connected with a lot of people and they knew somebody that was like, COVID, we're happy to help. So you see the sequence, what happens when you put yourself out there and go, I don't know what tomorrow brings, but that's fine.
The only thing is to get out. Go out, meet them, talk to them, ask them.
Ask.
It will happen.
Ask. People love to be asked because everybody wants to feel like that they are helpful and useful. And you can ask them for opportunities. You can ask them if they know somebody that can give you an opportunity. So fast forward 9 months, that's how I survived in doing workshops here and there. During that time, I obviously met a lot of people. I'm generally a very social person. So I can't stay by myself. I'm like, I need friends, you know, I need people. But I didn't know that the social interactions were eventually going to be my road to success.
Okay.
Because every person I met and connected to knew somebody else that was looking at having, you know, what I was offering. It could be training, it could be, you know, coaching. So I started to do that. And even when I got into real estate, it was by an opportunity from somebody that I met, who's still a good friend of mine, introduced me to this company. And I said in the interview, I'm like, I don't know real estate, but you can try me for 3 months. If I'm not good enough, then that's fine, you know, thank you very much. Now, keep in mind, I had no visa for that 9 months. I was on a holiday visa. However, goes back to the networking, you know, that I did. I had a person who was renewing my visa semi-monthly.
Okay.
So it all fits in. It all fits in. So I was broke, semi homeless, jobless. Loved it. It was the best experience
ever.
Best experience.
That's true.
So when I landed the job, which was end of 2020, the full-time real estate job, I walked in. I didn't even know how to measure square meters. I had no idea what prices were like. And I'm sitting on YouTube going, what is real estate? Like, do we just sell houses? Do we do this? But I've always been somebody that believed in myself too much. I still do. And I think I'll always remain that way because that was instilled in me as a young person, that you are always more than what you think and that you're always capable. So that my mom's voice will ring in my head every time because again I failed so much and I'm the only reason I'm sitting here today.
Then I wanted to ask you the same thing. That